know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Edu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil, immediately goes back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. It's time for some more CGL action coming your way. The mid-season tournament is more than underway here, and we've got what promises to be a absolute banger of a match tonight. Of course, I cannot cover it alone. In case you're wondering, I am Megalast, and I've got Shadowfang by my side. Shadow, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. We have a little technical difficulty here on the bottom, but so I'm Shadow, that's Megalast, of course, over to my left. We're going to be having Short Bus and Snowfall playing against each other here tonight. Both teams undefeated. Both teams only lost 1 map, as a matter of fact. Short Bus is coming in their quarterfinal matchup against, I want to say it was Demon Kittens?
Yep.
So it should be a relatively competitive match tonight, I would think. You know, both of these teams really strong. Everybody's gunning for Short Bus. They are the team that won the tier last season, so they have to be the favorites just for that reason alone. But let's see if Snowfall can potentially knock them off and give them their first loss in quite a while.
Exactly, that's what we're going to be looking for this evening. Like you said, there's been a lot of smack talk here in the NA console open. A lot of teams gunning for Short Bus because they stand at the top. The Kings currently wearing the crown. And, you know, if we're just getting a look at things here and how the bracket's playing out here in NA Console Open, because there's a lot of mid-season games, a lot of things have been happening. Maybe you need a bit of a refresher. Here's how we're looking right now. You got Short Bus versus Snowfall happening here tonight. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, Dackerson Mental Institution, I believe, goes on tomorrow. Fun fact, all of these teams sitting at 4-0 on the regular season. Nobody has experienced a loss yet. So it will be a true litmus test for all these teams to try to become the champion of the midseason.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, I checked a little bit earlier today. It is going to be tomorrow, same time that we're at right now. So, you know, obviously Short Bus, Snowfall, whichever one of the two wins is going to be watching that closely because that's going to end up, you know, leading into the finals. I imagine Saturday or Sunday.
Whenever it ends up getting scheduled, but it is exciting here. Speaking of exciting, this is not the only match happening right now. We've got a trifecta of streams coming your way here. We are on CGL 2 in case you somehow weren't aware, but over on the main stream right now, they've got Anenra and Squirt Squad, I think a team you're particularly fond of, Shadow, going right now as well. And then on CGL 3, the third channel, the rare but real, we have Banished and Scad B Sports Black. That is a name and a half right there. Will be going on in just a little bit. So I mean, really just packed full of mid-season action today.
Yeah, I mean, look at that logo too. The Bee's got a little controller in its hands playing the game, you know. That'll be coming on CGL 3 in an hour, so, you know, give them a little bit of time. But for the time being, at least, you can swap between us and the Anenra match, you know, whichever one's more your flavor.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about the tournament, right? When it's single elim, these high pressure games, all of those early seeding games, you could argue, oh, there's clearly a favorite, da da da. We're starting to get into the thick of it. All of these
Hmm.
matches should be amazing. You're really starting to see the best of the best go against each other, potentially for the first time this season. So it can absolutely set the tone for the rest of the bracket and the rest of the season here.
Hmm.
But focusing down on this match finally here, it is a semifinal. I promise. It is just again, we're dealing with some tech stuff. It's okay. But here in the NA Console Open, what have you been noticing has been developing in terms of meta, Shadow?
For the most part, it's been a lot of the same. The Orisa, the Tracer, the Ashe, the Juno. The secondary support seems to swap between Brig or Ana, depending on what the team's, what their preference is in that regard. But that's pretty much all that I've seen on most of the maps. If you hit your dive maps, we'll usually see the Diva come out instead, but everything else usually maintains itself, stays the same. Maybe we'll see a Mei, depending on if we have a particularly brawl-heavy map, but for the most part, I've been seeing like that Ashe Tracer for the DPS line, primarily.
Could not agree with you more. It has been pretty stable here. But speaking of maps, we are actually, before we go through our maps, I think we really need to look at our teams a little bit closer. Give you a preview of who the stars are gonna be tonight. Starting with Short Bus here. Again, they're the reigning champions, a stacked lineup and a half behind them here. You got NRG and Beastman, aka Akaza. And listen, if you've been around CGL, you know the name Akaza, the power behind it. Necryze being that ever reliable tank, and then you have Hopeful and Smash as your DP or your support line rather, but they do so much damage sometimes they feel like DPS.
Yeah, no, the supports, especially in Overwatch 2, since they've been changed a little bit, the way you play support now, you do kind of play them as DPSs that heal now. Like, you can do an absurd amount of damage with these supports, and if they're running, like, something like a Juno Brig, Juno, you can very easily have equal damage to heals in a game on Juno, and just, like, oh my lord, that character is so good right now.
Very powerful, but also in terms of power, you have the other lineup, YE Snowfall, the young upstarts ready to prove something here. You got Turtle Boy and Raven on the DPS line. Then on tank, we saw just the other day doing some insane work, and then Eevee and Paradox supports for tonight. And this squad, again, undefeated so far, only dropping a single map in the regular season. This squad, they're looking to try to take it to the best of the best.
Yeah, everybody wants a piece of Short Bus. Every team I've interviewed, I always ask them who they want to play, and every single time it's Short Bus. There has never been another answer to come out of any interviewee's mouth so far. So I know that these guys are all ready to play this game tonight, and they want to give their best possible showing that they can. So I expect to see a very close and tightly contested game. But we are going to start. As far as the maps are concerned, I do believe it is on Samoa.
Yes, indeed. We're round 2, the semifinals. So that first map being pre-selected. No more Oasis. Bit more of those sunny beaches in play here. And I mean, this map, it's been lending itself to a lot of brawl, but do you think there could be any switch-ups in terms of that, or do you think people are just going to stick with the tried and true?
Nah, I think we're just gonna see more of the same here. I think there's gonna be a lot of Orisa being played on this map. It's a flat map for the most part, and there's no reason to not just run it down mid essentially as Orisa on a map like this. It's not, you can't really play it too differently. So I would guess we're gonna see the Orisa brawl comps. Maybe this is where the Mei comes out that I was mentioning earlier.
It could be, only time will tell here as we are loading into the scenic home of our favorite minigun wielding tank, Malga, but I don't think Malga is going to be the flavor of the month right now. It has been all Orisa all the time, as we have been saying. But sometimes teams do like to beat to the sound of their own drum, and Shurtbus is showing us a Ramatra.
We have been seeing some Ramatra as well. I can understand it as well. You're just going for more sustain. That's essentially what the two tanks are trying to do here. Who can survive longer? And so you can't really go wrong with the Ramatra in that regard.
Exactly here. So now as we're heading over to our center point, both teams going to be posturing around it here, but Snowfall already sending Zen in to contest it as it will unlock here. Now going to force Necrise to step forward using that barrier just for a little bit of pressure mitigation. Unfortunately, it does fall at the end of the day here. So now both Ashes looking for their shots. Nice Dynamite will put the pressure onto Akaza here for the time being, but now Smash is sort of peaking again, just willing to peak over and over again, but so incredibly low is Zen here. NRG, normally the DPS, is going to be the DPS in this fight, removing Turtle Boy, and the low Orisa could not be healed, so Short Bus will take the first fight.
There it is. You know, you mentioned NRG typically on DPS. Well, what did I say earlier? You can do pretty much equal damage to heals on that Juno, and we saw it in action right there. Being able to take the Tracer in the 1v1, that is huge for your support. To be able to do that consistently gives you such an insane advantage.
Absolutely massive here. Now we're seeing Akaza doing a little bit of poke. He is found out though, so going to have to catch a Dynamite to the face. Raven able to remove that massive threat. Hopeful falling soon after. This is going to be the go button for Snowfall, and Raven cleaning up the fight with headshots galore, and that'll be the flip.
Oh man, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing somebody hit those hip fire shots with the Ashe and then just zooming in and getting the headshots right after. It's just so satisfying. That's a tough stagger for Necrise there. It doesn't really matter too much though. We are going to see Turtle Boy having this Pulse Bomb. Having this Pulse Bomb this early, you want to try and get hopeful if you can. Take this Brigitte out of the fight as early as possible, and it'll just give you pretty much an instant fight win.
It seems that Stuck does ring through, but it'll be on to Smash this time around, and so now that main source of damage is actually going to be traded to Akaza, going tick for tack, blow for blow here, and now a 4v4 situation. Lacking a Juno though, you see Necrise pushing forward, the Annihilation, punishing these supports. There's not much else that Snowfall can do except die and reset, as that is just some aggression from Short Bus.
I mean, just a beautiful stick by Akaza there. Turtle Boy does get the kill onto the opposing Smash there, but the Juno is just such a more valuable kill, and it just gives Necrise that instant go button, because Brigitte is not going to be able to sustain you through an Annihilation no matter how hard you want it to, you know. So great play there from Short Buzz. It only cost you 2 ultimates. Snowfall is probably going to have to ult dump this fight if they want to try and take it.
And I was going to say, Raven's being pretty sneaky over here, but Akaza, head on a swivel, manages to find them as the bomb is thrown out. Now with all this pressure though, and you talked about that ult dump here, lots of things being thrown in, but Snowfall is turning the fight in their favor. They already have the cap, they have the numbers advantage, and it seems like Short Bus is just going to be fleeing.
And I mean, honestly, it only cost you the Orbital Ray and the Bob, so you're not really mad if you're Snowfall. You save most of your ultimates. And for Short Bus, you're going to have Bob and that Orbital Ray, the exact same combo we just saw. And Snowfall really only has the Rally to deal with it. Terra Surge you do have available, but that's not going to really help you with these ultimates that are coming in.
Marching forward here in that humble form, trying to throw those fists. Now with the Bob deep into enemy backlines here. Snowfall is realizing they're trapped between a rock and a hard place as the Juno ult comes out here. They were able to focus down on the Bob, but they are just going to have to give up point pressure for the time being. Everybody managing to stay alive though. Now that the Juno ult has expired, this could be Snowfall's opportunity to walk back in. You're seeing Zen already going forward, drop to half health, but having that Terra Surge, pulling a lot of enemies together, and it will be Smash, the first victim of it. But Akaza not willing to end this without a fight. Turtle Boy answering back, both Tracers doing what they can here. It's a 3v3 on the point. You're seeing the NRG try to desperately apply the healing to Necrise as we're entering overtime. Now it is the Ramatra finally able to live, able to get towards that Nemesis form, as we're just trading back and forth continuously here. Eevee with this ultimate now is actually being zoned out by the Annihilation. The Ramatra manages to find Paradox with the help of Akaza here, and Zen, so incredibly low on the point, cannot get healed up, and that will be Short Bus taking the first round.
Oh, it wasn't easy for him though. they got that annihilation just in time. Necry is able to just kind of int all the way into the back line with that annihilation, get the kill onto Hopeful. You see Akaza coming in from behind when Hopeful's one shot and taking down that Brigitte. Just great synergy from Short Bus. Exactly what you would expect from this team, honestly. I love the way that they're playing together with this Ramatra and just really helping secure those kills on those low health targets that are trying to run away with the Tracer of Akaza.
Running away in vain there, although, you know, now looking forward, you are seeing these compositions. Again, it's the Ramatra that was getting the value you would not expect here. Smash going to go over to the Genji, though, potentially valuing the close range combat here as Raven already chucking out that dynamite. Nice little burn onto the Ramatra, but it will not be the impact into a kill you are looking for. Both teams now just simply posturing, checking each other out, wanting to see what the move forward here is. And Akaza already has that recall forced out, so this could be a go button for Snowfall, but they're actually getting the pressure thrown right back into their face. Akaza's going to head over to the point while the rest of Snowfall is just surging forward here. I don't know if they're going to get a touch onto the objective in time. They do manage it, so no cap has come through. But it is just, again, this war of attrition between these two squads, neither willing to give an inch, but that'll be the start. Smash removing Paradox, Turtle taking out NRG. It's a 4v4, and it will be the first cap to Short Bus, but Smash so incredibly low, not enough healing when it's just the Brigitte, and it will be more and more members of Short Bus falling here without that Juno in play to keep them healthy, and it will be Snowfall taking it.
And that's really just the more beneficial trade comes out from the side of Snowfall. And with that, NRG is now severely behind Eevee in terms of this ult charge, and that could snowball into this next fight going the way of Snowfall just due to the pure ult advantage that we're seeing right now. Because I would say Orbital Ray is one of the more, if not the most important ultimate in this comp.
Orbital Ray has been powerful. It's been one of the staples of this meta here, but Akaza working their way into the back line, now able to deliver a pulse bomb, but actually gets the recall forced out. Meanwhile, Turtle Boy has gone to work on the other side of things. Smash is missing his Nemesis form running out. It is going to force the rally out from Hopeful. Short Bus willing to invest in this fight despite being down players, and now you're watching the Ramatra trying to catch them off guard. Behind them, this Annihilation is being popped. They have the Juno on top of everything. It is a cacophony of ultimates across the point, but Snowfall has been maintaining control the whole time. That guy will finally fall. And so incredibly low is NRG. Raven can't connect those shots, but it will be a reset for Short Bus.
I mean, that's probably the best case scenario you can get if you're Snowfall, because Short Bus burnt all those ultimates that Snowfall did as well. Like, both teams burnt every ult. So now Turtle Boy's Pulse Bomb is the only thing online for either team, and that is a huge advantage because we've seen these sticks come out consistently, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another one right here.
We will have to see. This Tracer duel could determine a lot, as Raven will actually just put the coach gun in Akaza's throat. Zen, incredibly low though, does not get healed up, so despite having a numbers advantage, lacking a tank could be a difference maker, and Smash willing to deliver right back. This match seems to be one of mirrors right now, and so Short Bus will take the flip.
Pulse Bomb goes wide for Turtle Boy in that fight, but again, there's really no ultimates available for either side just yet. So we're looking at another dry fight here, and you just want to see one of those early picks come out from one of these Tracers. They're really the big engagers so far.
The big engagement potential here, as recall has now been forced out from Turtle Boy. That Tracer going to have to wait a little while before getting aggressive. Meanwhile, Snowfall wants to take this time, start taking pressure onto the point here. The Necry's trying to find their way into the backline. They are being stifled and pushed back by the Brigitte, and now Turtle Boy has found their pound of flesh. Hopeful is gone, but health bars are low on the side of Snowfall. They have to stabilize before coming back in, but they have an advantage. They have a pick. It's got to be now if they're going to flip it. It's going to be the Orbital Ray to start. The Pulse Bomb does manage to take out Turtle Boy, but it seems like just that as the pick here. Necry, though, turning it single-handedly. The last member picks up 3 in the fight. And just like that, Short Bus are still alive.
That could have gone very poorly, and it did not for the side of Short Bus. This Ramatra putting in some work right now. Oh, did they overstep their bounds?
He's gonna force the Juno out from the side of NRG here, and the Terror Surge is gonna finally put the the nail in Necry's coffin. Energy falling after means that Short Bus is going to find themselves short-handed here. And it seems like that it is an inevitability. We're heading to a round 3 unless Short Bus can get a meaningful contest.
Necry is looking to get back on point with this Doomfist. There's no ults available except for this rally. If they can get the touch, no touch is going to be coming in though. You're right. Round 3 coming up, Megalas, and it's looking like this is going to be a banger of a match so far.
Both teams digging their heels, and they know that this first map can tip the scales into the future, and they're respecting each other so heavily here. The Ramatra was putting in tons of work for Necry's, but it seems like the Orisa was getting the better of it at the end of the day. And so now, as we're heading to the beachfront, you have to wonder if either team makes hero swaps or if they're just sticking with it.
I get the feeling these teams know what they want to play and they know why they want to play it. I don't see any reason for either side to swap. You know, one ult here, one ult there, one pick here, one pick there. It could be going a totally different way. These teams are very, very evenly matched so far.
Up against it now, some, like we promised, a real close affair here, as it will just be the Ashe players taking shots at each other, trying to find that ever crucial headshot. A spear to the face is going to be a discouraging thing for the side of Short Bus here. The Orisa now going to point, both tanks meeting each other there, making sure that healing comes through though, making sure these Ashes don't find too much value. Necry's has not been forced to use that Nemesis form just yet, still having it in the back pocket to get some extra HP, some extra armor in the fight, as it is just again this contest back and forth for a point. Turtle Boy now currently behind the Ramatra. Once the Nemesis form is popped, it will just be this continuous poke, and Necry's actually finds themselves out of LOS of their healers. They actually get pushed right back into their line of sight, so that way some healing can come through onto the poor tank, but that required some positional disadvantages there. They had to give up the point, so now Snowfall has first cap going. No pick has come through yet, but this Necry's is so incredibly low on this Ramatra. It's going to require a massive amount of healing, which finally comes through here. Both teams still at this even stalemate, 5-5, but the Pulse Bomb is going to be the first determining factor. Energy is removed from the fight. That main source of healing gone. The Brig cannot do it alone here, so this should signal the retreat for Short Bus.
I mean, another great Pulse Bomb. Both of these Tracers just going back and forth, getting these beautiful sticks and winning out team fights. And I mean, but Short Bus is gonna have basically all 5 of their ults online. So like we're gonna see a big massive ult fight trade coming up here shortly.
We'll see it, as now the Terror Surge is going to be the first engaged tool. Both teams jumping into this, but mainly Snowfall, and they're being rewarded with it. A fight win. Energy does manage to pick out Raven, though. This Ramatra going to die on the point here, not willing to stagger themselves out or waste anything, and Snowfall takes that fight.
Well, plus side there, if you're Short Bus, you only burnt the Orbital Ray, so you've still got all your other 4 ultimates. For Snowfall, you're going to have a really tough time taking this next fight. You might want to take this fight as early as you can just to try and force out a ton of ultimates, or maybe just try and prolong it as much as possible. Just try and get this to 99 if you're Snowfall. That's your biggest goal here. You're probably not going to win the fight with the ult disadvantage that you have.
Probably not is a thing in Overwatch that not many players consider here, as it is just some pressure applied to the point right now from Short Bus. The rally's being traded out, both teams wanting to continue their invest, but Short Bus finally is going to get the cap. Raven throws Bob before finally being removed from the equation, and Akaza wins that Tracer duel. So 4v4 on the point once again here, and it seems as though the Bob is just a little too deep. Finally, after the Onyx Butler leaves, you're seeing Zen surge forward, but Akaza again finding another key pick. And it's a third for the Tracer. Make it a fourth. The highlight reel just keeps on giving. Give it all 5 to your Tracer.
And I mean, I can say it again, just like we said a little bit earlier, these Tracers are just seeming to be the lobby admins right now. They're just going back and forth, just getting multiple picks for their team. And don't look now, but Turtle Boy has this Pulse Bomb ready again. And from what we've seen so far, I see no reason to believe why they might not get a nice play right here.
We will have to see. The Brig Flail stops it for the time being, but the Pulse Bomb still online. That being said, Eevee is found out by Akaza, who's turned it up to another level. The Pulse Bomb ends up going wide, not found for Turtle Boy yet, so it will just be a soft reset for Snowball as they wait for Eevee to get back in the fight.
Definitely got to wait on your Juno to come back there. Or yeah, you gotta wait for your Juno to come back. You want to get your Juno ultimate online. That's probably your key to winning this next fight, is trying to get your orbital ray up and ready as fast as you possibly can. You are gonna have Bob, you are gonna have Terra Surge, but you want that orbital ray just to give you that little bit of extra sustain and damage, because you're gonna be walking into one yourself.
Exactly, the orbital rays ready to be traded out on both sides here as we're entering final fight territory. The Bob thrown out from Raven, but a pulse stuck from Akaza again. Now that annihilation being popped, making sure our favorite Ramatra feels nice and healthy in the fight. Short-handed is Snowfall right now. They are getting pressure on the point. They actually even managed to get the flip thanks to the Juno ult here, but Smash removing Eevee. It is seeming desperation now for Snowfall. They're lacking members, and it's going to be an overtime fight for them. It is going to require some clutch from this Tracer and Zen if they want to get it done. Smash removes Turtle Boy from the equation. The Terra Surge, it manages to slam onto the point, but so does the Bob. Smash has been coming up with headshot after headshot, and after the Orisa falls, nobody can touch the point again. And Short Bus will be taking map number 1.
Oh, it was not easy for them by any stretch of the imagination, but Akaza just had a few better plays there to just really carry out a few of those fights, as we saw. And I mean, just overall better play from the side of Short Bus on that first map. It could have went the way of Snowfall, but there were individual moments that just kept happening where you're like, oh yeah, this is why Short Bus won the tier previously. You can see it in those moments too. Like anytime you see Necryze pop that annihilation, you see 4 kills come out, you see a Bob come through from Smash getting like 3 or 4 kills. It's like, okay, this is it right here. Each individual player had their moments on the team to do a carry play, and that's the sign of like a truly great team.
Exactly, and I also want to highlight Necryze, making the Ramatra work in a dominant Orisa meta, and that comes down to those cooldown usages, right? Just being able to, weather the storm, not just simply wasting those Nemesis forms, being able to activate them exactly when it's needed to either give yourself that health, that sustain, or, to provide those punches, those pummels that can, result in those first picks coming through, but, obviously, like you said, a lot of carries across both of these squads here, but I think the main person I want to focus on, somebody who, again, CGL famous at this point, Akaza on Tracer. I'm still in that fight with the 5K. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it feels so nice when it just lines up like that for you in that moment, because that's what Tracer does so well, is just chases down and finishes off targets that are trying to escape. To me, that's like one of the best things that Tracer can do. And just seeing it in action right there, there's nothing more satisfying than getting those pulse pistols and just getting all headshots and just blinking in, getting the melee off. Oh, it's one of my personal favorite things to do when I'm playing Tracer. Like when you see all those headshots come through at one time, it's like, oh, this is the reason that this is like the poster character of Overwatch right here. This is why the character has what a lot of people consider to be the highest skill ceiling in the game.
Well, speaking of the ceilings, looking forward in this series, Snowfall, they now get map pick. A scenario they're probably not too used to. Again, both these teams boasting some pretty good records here. Looking across our hybrid picks, Shadow, where do you think they're going to end up taking us?
I don't really have a good guess here. We've been seeing a lot of Paraiso for some reason, so maybe we just see the Paraiso come out just so we can get a little bit of variety, get away from these Orisa and Ramatra compositions and go to more Diva Winston centric compositions, because I think you can still make the Orisa work for the most part on Hollywood or Midtown in particular. But Paraiso, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to be playing a dive comp of some type when you go onto that map. Unless, of course, it's Malga meta, and then you just play Malga every map.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, Paraiso, it's because we've said that about a few different maps before, right? Like, you know, Hollywood, some people would consider a dive map, but we've seen teams still be able to force their brawl. But Paraiso does seem to be that great equalizer in the back pocket. But, you know, we've been seeing some mileage come out of Midtown as well. Teams that like to keep it more traditional. Dive seems to, you know, not be fading away, but a lot of teams don't like it as much as the brawl characters. So, you know, it really just comes down to the comfort for all of these players and things like that, you know, when it comes to selecting these comps, and also just what they've been practicing.
Yeah, that's going to be the big determining factor. It's like, what are you the most comfortable on? And I just bring this up. I say Paraiso simply due to the fact that on Snowfall's team sheet, they filled out that their favorite comp to play is Diva Dive. So that's why I'm gonna say Paraiso. I'm locking that in as my final answer. They said Midtown. Why do we even do team sheets? I don't understand.
I mean, hey, listen, you could still play, you could try to play some Diva Dive on Midtown here. That first point, though, is going to be incredibly interesting, right? We've seen different ways teams like to assault it. You have the alleyways to work with for your pathing, and some interesting defensive setups have come out as well.
I mean, most definitely, you can potentially run a Sigma on the defense here. That's still viable. You know, I have to imagine that we're just gonna see. All right, so we're just getting a quick little lobby reset, so we'll get it started back here momentarily, back on Midtown, and we'll get the game started back up. But for the time being, I really think that we're probably just gonna see Orisa versus Ram again. Honestly, like, I see no reason why that would change on Midtown, unless of course Short Bus decides they want to play the Orisa now.
Could be a factor here, but yeah, I mean, just quickly to highlight the technical thing, in case you at home somehow have been living under a rock, we've had an issue with Overwatch for about 3 months now, Blizzard, where the central servers in the US sometimes it's just like, hey, listen, you cannot host games on these servers, so it requires us to literally just reset the lobby over and over again, kind of like a roulette here. But we do see some swaps coming through, and I think NRG has duplicated himself.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I say this all the time. If there was just 5 of me on a team, I'd never lose. So NRG is just taking that quite literally and putting themselves on the team multiple times, and I respect it, honestly.
I think if there were 5 of me on any one team, I think that team would have the fastest mental boom rate in, like, all of Overwatch. Like, I'm talking just a cataclysmic explosion would occur here, as our observers have captured every single pigeon you could ever imagine existing currently on Midtown.
I was gonna say, I hope you don't say in New York. Have you been to New York? Man, I ain't never seen so many pigeons in my life. Good lord.
Speaking of things you see here, currently Short Bus on the attack maybe can swap it up, maybe do a little bit creative things, but the defense, Snowfall is sticking on that Orisa.
Yeah, no surprises here, seeing the Orisa come out. I mentioned before, you can still run the Sigma, but the requirement to running the Sigma is to also run Bapillari. So I loved seeing something different come out, so I support this fully. Normally I don't like Sigma because it's kind of a boring tank, but it's not the same. It's not a mirror comp. I love seeing different comps oppose each other and seeing what they can do. I really want to see what NRG can do on this Baptiste.
We will have to see the Bap Iari, a very interesting backline, potent and full of damage here, as it is just going to be the pathing through the alleyways for the time being. Akaza already finds himself in the laundromat, being met with Turtle Boy once again here, and Necrise is simply choosing to walk through the main streets of New York, playing around the fire truck here. So round and round we seem to go here, teams trading position, but the defense has given up a lot of space over to the attackers now. Short Bus, they're able to rein in the damage wherever they want, and finally the first shot connects. Turtle Boy is removed from the fight, and that's just going to sound the retreat for Snowfall.
I mean, it's going to be tough for Turtle Boy. Yep, I like that swap. I like the Genji swap. It's going to be tough to play Tracer, trying to go into Bapillari and the Ashe just bolting you over and over again.
difficult here, as now a re-engage attempt is coming out from the side of Snowfall, but they are still incredibly low. As you see, even Zen on the Orisa feeling mortal right now. It is Eevee having the shooter already ready due to the massive amount of healing that's had to be output. This Orisa going to hit the floor for the time being here, but despite no picks coming through, you're seeing Short Bus slowly be forced back, and the defense is regaining some of that space, but for how long can they hold Zen on point alone? The healing has been shielded off, and that Orisa is not long for this world here. So now, again, all of the space for the attackers to work with. Smash incredibly low, healed up by NRG, but that should just be cool.
I mean, just great kiting from the side of Short Bus. You see the orbital ray come out, what do? You just back on up slowly, and then you recontest. That's all you kind of do on this poke comp, is it's just push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. Do I need to go in, or do I need to come out? What needs to happen here? And they're doing a great job of that so far. And they have 5 ults to show for it. I have to imagine some of them are about to get popped right here. Probably the Gravitic Flux early.
They want to keep the momentum going, but they don't have to overinvest, hopefully, here. That being said, you know, Snowfall with some tools of their own to work with, but the Gravitic Flux plus Sun combo is the first thing to work with. The Genji deflex was mistimed. Raven is going to be the one to fall from that combo. Seems like everybody else is living for the time being, but it actually is Necrise who's found out on the Sigma, just could not get around that little wall on the high ground too far forward, and now missing a tank. You're seeing Short Bus immediately sound for a reset.
Yeah, I mean, the operation was a success, but the patient died. That's what I would say right there, because you got your combo off that you wanted to get off, but it didn't quite go the way you thought it would. And we're seeing Necrise actually swap over to this Diva, which I do like this swap. It's very difficult to contest that high ground consistently without having some sort of mobility, so great pick here. Snowfall has the ult advantage here. They're going to pop this orbital ray early, and it's going to be a tough fight for Short Bus.
Tough fights, but they've been in tougher spots here, as now Snowfall is back on the high ground. They're not worried about the payload, and you're seeing them actually have to give up the high ground in the face of that amplification matrix from NRG, respecting it all too much. That damage can come through and do devastating things, as now with full control of high ground, you're seeing Smash peek forward and get the pick they were looking for. Paradox gone, make Eevee next to follow. Now Bob being traded out despite not having support. You're seeing an investment here from Snowfall. Meanwhile, the payload's ever been moving forward. This Ashe is 1 HP. The Orisa can barely make it to car, barely has any health to do anything, and just like that, Short Bus will take point B.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic push by the supports right there to just recognize that you need to just get this cart moving. So you put Hopeful and I believe it was Akaza were both standing on the cart there, getting it moving around the corner while the rest of the team is engaging on that high ground. And look here, Snowfall swapping the Brigitte over to an Alari of their own. So they're really wanting to try and contest this damage that Hopeful was outputting. I have to imagine that's why you do this swap at least.
I mean, there seems to be no other reason here, as now the fight is continuing. We've already rounded the first corner of this point C. A Diva matchup in the works here on the cart. But again, Hopeful on the ER. He has just been raining in bullet after bullet. It has not felt safe for the side of Snowfall here. Their defense has looked a little lackluster, as now Ultimate Pop left, right, and center, but Turtle Boy with the blade, helped out from the Juno, is going to be able to claim 2. That Captive Sun goes to waste here from Hopeful, and Short Bus will be forced to reset.
Honestly, great ult combination there. Damage boost onto the blade with the orbital ray. That does cost you basically everything that you have, though. But on plus side, Short Bus really only has the Diva Bomb available to them. So this is going to be a relatively dry fight incoming here. It's really just going to be who can position themselves better, who can catch somebody slipping and potentially get the early pick off on them.
Exactly. These fights we've seen Short Bus win. It's been a positioning difference. They take the position from their opposition, force the defense back into where they want them, and now Akaza running forward with the help of Necrise. They do manage to actually save Raven. That Ash will live to fight another day here. No picks coming through, as it is just these shots ringing across the battlefield back and forth. Everybody looking for their opportunity. It will be the Diva Bomb thrown in from Necrise here. This baby Diva so incredibly low, finally going to be found, and now Paradox trying to respond with their own Cactus Sun on the other side of things. It will break the Immortality field, and NRG is soon to follow here, and this defense has finally seemed to finally stabilize.
Yeah, Necrise cooks a little bit too hard there with that Diva Bomb, and ends up paying for it with their life. But on the plus side, Short Bus does manage to build up all of their other ultimates from that, and Snowfall is essentially going to have 3 ults of their own to contest this with, so you're going to want to see these ults come out early for Short Bus. Try and get this corner as soon as you can.
Ult being early is going to be the name of the game here, is it will be the Bob from Smash responded with from the Orbital Ray. Will actually be used with help from Zen to remove Bob from the fight. Now it is a plethora of ults coming out from Short Bus, but none of them are working because Raven is working overtime. The Bob plus the shots ringing true here. Short Bus, all of it was for naught, and now they're below a minute.
Ooh, that is a tough fight to lose if you're Short Bus. You just put basically everything you had into that just to lose the fight. And there's not enough time left to get more ultimates. So yeah, we're seeing Hopeful swap over to that Brigitte. Probably a smart pick, honestly, just to try and get more of that sustain for your team. But don't look now, Turtle Boy is about to have this blade available. It's going to be a lot tougher now, though, having to go into this Brigitte of Hopeful.
As per usual, Short Bus, they find themselves in a pinch, and their prayer may be Akaza. The Pulse Bomb locked and loaded for the Tracer here, but it will be the Blade coming out from Turtle Boy on the other side of things first. Ash so incredibly low as the Pulse Bomb does get eaten. Both DPS not coming up with anything from those ultimates here as we are about to enter overtime. We have to make sure to get somebody over to the cart for Short Bus, and they do manage to do just that with this Diva mech from Necrise so incredibly low, as now it'll actually be Zen going in just a little too deep here, trying to live zone with that Diva Bomb. They managed to do it for the time being. Now the bomb being forced out on the other side. Necrise not going to find anything except their own remech, but Zen will be the first casualty with them, so losing the mech. And now the Juno ult was earned up in time from NRG. The swap came through exactly when it needed to, and the rest of Snowfall is trying to hide for one final fight.
Oh, and here we go. Last corner, last fight. Smash has Bob available too. This is a tough spot to have to run into Bob at.
Yeah, and Paradox with the Cactus Sun unfortunately can't do anything. Now the rally, kind of healing everybody from a Short Bus. It's making the contest on the defense just impossible. Bob now on the cart with a little bit of a defense matrix is able to remove Necry's mech, but it seems like that's all they are going to be able to do. The Diva falls, the Bob soon to follow. A TP from Akiriko onto nobody means that Short Bus will finish the map in overtime.
And there it is again. Those moments that I was talking about on map 1. There's another one of them. That clutch factor just comes into play from you winning so many games and tournaments together as a team. You know, those are the moments that you can only quantify in the actual moment. You can't like practice that. That's something that just comes with experiencing that moment over and over again. And as Short Bus has, they're just accustomed to being in that moment, so they know exactly what to do, they know exactly how to perform, and they just do it over and over again. You know, I mentioned before the fight, I didn't think anybody was going to be able to build ults because nobody was really close, and there was only 40 seconds left. But every single player from Short Bus got an ultimate off in that last fight, so that was just a crazy clutch performance from all 5 players, quite honestly.
Massive clutch coming out here, and now Snowfall, a tall task ahead of them, completing Midtown entirely to send us into extra rounds. That being said, both teams have opted for completely different looks here to start.
Yeah, it looks like Snowfall is going back to what they were just playing a moment ago, going for that Juno and the Iliari. Whereas Short Bus is going back to the Juno Brig. I think I like Short Bus's comp a little bit better here just because the Brig is going to deny most of what Turtle Boy wants to do on this Genji. So they may end up having to swap, just because it's gonna be really tough to get in with Genji against that comp.
It feels difficult, but if anyone can do it, we've seen Turtle Boy pop off with the Genji before. Very similar situation here. Snowfall just taking space for the time being, removing every single place that this Tracer can lurk one by one, getting themselves in position to get ready for a fight towards the point. Genji so incredibly low, though the defense matrix is not going to be enough as Akaza comes in with a melee to make sure that the Cyber Ninja is sent back to spawn. But it seems like that will just sound the quick retreat with the speed ring for the side of Snowfall.
Smart retreat from Snowfall. You lose the one player and you just want to reset before you cause yourself to stagger out way too hard here. And now look at how quick this recontest is already. They're already back in the fight because of how smart they just played that.
Well played for them here. Speaking of well played, though, Short Bus currently holding these angles, holding the positions. They're more than happy to give up the laundromat because they can hold control of a whole lot else here, as now this point is slowly getting encroached upon. You're seeing Snowfall come from every single angle. The Tracer going to the top of Firehouse, being met by D.Va. Zen having to be on this lookout duty for Akaza time and again here. But the defense is coming up on some powerful ultimates that they can use to win this fight outright, as now they've trapped their opponents, and Akaza's Pulse Bomb will come up with 2. The bomb being the extra point on top of everything else here. Although the baby D.Va actually not long for this world, and that'll be Short Bus taking a team kill.
And I mean, again, Akaza, just another Pulse Bomb stick. You know, what else is new at this point? That just seems to be what they do every single fight. But again, Snowfall is just having difficulties really getting in. Nobody on this team can mark this Tracer of Akaza super effectively. Maybe Paradox on the Alari, but it's just you don't have the Tracer to mark, so it's just tough.
Tough indeed here, as now Snowfall walking forward with their orbital ray here, but seems like a lot of its value has gone to waste. Turtle Boy incredibly low, is able to get healed up, but it's not enough. Necryze, with the help of their own orbital ray, decides to go into the thick of things. Paradox trying to capitalize on their own captive stun, unable to do it in the face of Smash, and now this D.Va is going to town. Necryze is ruining everybody here, and the baby D.Va might get a meaningful stab.
It is appearing that it's about to be that way. This is gonna be pretty rude right about now, it looks like. Yep, just gonna get the baby D.Va right at the very edge of the retreat. So rude, but you know, that's what we expect to see at this tier, and you do love to see it, honestly. It's just really smart. And don't look now, but Akaza has this Pulse Bomb online again, and there's nothing to really deny that Pulse Bomb other than Zen catching it in that defense matrix.
We'll have to see if the D.Va is up to the task once again here, as both teams have some ultimates to work with here. You're seeing Turtle Boy again with a Dragon Blade, making sure the value is found, though, as Raven will actually start this one out with the Omnic Butler being thrown in. That'll be 1 tick gain, heading towards a second for the side, and it seems like they're going in with the Dragon Blade, but it's immediately caught with a stun to the face. Akaza gets Paradox out of the fight, and with only 15 seconds left, I don't think Snowfall's making it back.
Oh, that's a tough task for Snowfall to try and make it back, and Akaza's going to be here pestering them to try and make sure they don't make it back.
You're going to have to see the Lucio trying their best, but killed in action. Nobody gets to the point, and Short Bus, they show why they're the champions, and are heading to match point now. Just absolute domination there on Midtown.
Complete domination from the side of Short Bus. Just really showing again, like you said, why they did win this tier previously. Akaza absolutely dominant on that Tracer once Turtle Boy wasn't there to mark them anymore with the mirroring Tracer. Because like I said, it's tough to mark a Tracer with anything other than a Tracer. It's just tough.
It's absolutely brutal, and I'm surprised because Turtle Boy definitely was finding some good success on the Tracer, but they just leaned into the Genji there, and it seems like a bit of a misstep here. Is that... Wait, Snowfall didn't take map 1, did they? Am I crazy?
you know, I feel like Short Bus did.
Just trust me. The screen, so the screen got messed up. My memory, it was fading, but it's okay. We promise. It is Short Bus 2-0 right now. They're currently on that match point. But yeah, I mean, currently just looking on the up and up, Snowfall, I mean, their last stand is going to be on Clash. They get to, you know, choose which Clash map on the other side of a break here, Shadow, but, you know, I don't know if they've got the power in them.
It's a tall ask. It's a tough ask, but if it was going to happen on any map, you know, Clash would be it. But stick around for that. We're gonna get right back to that right after this short little break.
Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Welcome back. Hopefully you got yourself a snack, got yourself situated here. We've been watching two great teams slam into each other, but we have had a very clear advantage winner so far, if you will, in short bus right now. And I mean, Shadow, how has Snowfall bounced back here?
I mean, honestly, someone's got to do something about Akaza for the most part. Like, Akaza is just getting too much value consistently. Turtle Boy was somewhat equalizing that on map 1 with the mirroring Tracer, and I think if Akaza is going to continue to play this Tracer, you just have to mirror that Tracer and take those duels consistently and just try and be the better Tracer.
I mean, hey, that's a tall task to ask of anyone, but, you know, like you said, Turtle Boy definitely was up to it in map number 1 here, but that was then. This is now. We are headed to Clash. Very decisive game mode, and it seems like Japan will be our scene for what could be the final map in this series.
Very well could be the final map. Hanaoka. I haven't played that map as much as I've played Throne of Anubis, so I'm not too sure how it'll play out. I imagine these teams are gonna potentially stick with the divas here, though. And Clash is an interesting map type, especially Hanaoka. You can really play either the Diva or the Orisa Ram variation, whichever one you're feeling more. And, you know, so far at least, it's looking like we're going to be seeing the Orisa, so teams are going to opt for more of that brawly play style. And Short Bust potentially going to pull out a Rhine here, which, you know, I would personally love because Rhine's my favorite hero in the game. But, you know, we'll see if that's what actually happens.
We'll have to wait and see indeed here, but it seems like Snowfall at least wants to get close and personal with a Reaper May. Going to be trying to zone off, and the Reinhardt has left spawn. Don't talk to me until I've had my morning shatter. Be damned, as Necrise is going to try to go to work here with this Reinhardt. The Fire Strike comes in, connects with quite a few members. See if you can do that one again, as Smash currently hiding behind the shield, trying to shoot in. Speaking of shots, Turtle Boy on the Reaper has already worked their way into the back line, making Hopeful just a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. Necrise incredibly low, going to be followed up on. No healing in sight for our favorite German Crusader, and this should be Snowfall taking the first point.
Oh, yeah, you know, I love the German Hammerman, but it's just not going to work here. There's just too many things that are just completely designed to stop you from playing Reinhardt in this comp. And it's just, yeah, you see the Orisa swap come out from Necrise immediately. You know, Necrise probably having that moment of I can never have any fun while swapping to Orisa. So, you know, I feel that pain very much, and I feel sorry for them as well.
Speaking of the Fun Police, whether they're aware of it or not, Turtle Boy is rapidly approaching this Death Blossom here. Zen incredibly low, going to have to get some healing from the Juno, and they weren't ready for the Blossom! It's on top of everybody, it gets 4 people! Turtle Boy being the hero needed when Snowfall asked for it the most!
That is a moment right there. There's no way Short Bus was ready for that Death Blossom. You said it right before it happened, and it proved to be true. And now, because you've done that, you've got a massive ult advantage for this next fight. You may be able to win yourself potentially a tick just because of your ult advantage you've got, especially with this orbital ray. I would not be surprised to see Snowfall push this advantage as hard as they can now.
The momentum going with the orbital ray out first here as the point unlocks here. 3 ticks stand between Snowfall and a map win. It seems like Turtle Boy will get the first pick. A Terra Surge going to group everybody up on the objective. Does not result in a kill just yet. That being said, NRG does manage to kill their opposite Juno and throw out their orbital ray here, being able to apply that. Seems like no tick does come through though for the time being. Turtle Boy just so incredibly low in that Ray Storm, as Paradox, the only source of healing, is trying their best to keep everybody alive, but they just can't do it alone. Necrise manages to get that Fist of Fury into Turtle Boy's face, and it seems like the rest of Snowfall is to follow.
Yeah, that's an incredibly tragic moment there for the side of Snowfall. Just not having to burn the ultimates and just not being able to really get anything out of it. We're seeing the Cries get on their patented Doomfist now. So I'm going to be curious to see how you play Doomfist into Reaper, May, and Orisa, because that sounds like a tough, tall order for somebody.
If there's anyone up to the task here in NA console, it is Necrise. This man has been known as a legend, a connoisseur of the character, if you will. But we will have to see, as we're already seeing a point establishment coming out from Snowfall. This Blizzard from Raven can be thrown at their feet at any point just to sort of deter the Short Bus from wanting to make a contest. But it'll be Short Bus actually moving first here, throwing that Bob out. It's pushed off the point, then back into the Blizzard. It is going to be finally destroyed here, as again, the contest is back and forth, but Smash connects some headshots, removes Raven from the fight. Turtle Boy soon to follow, means that Short Bus is slowly but surely gaining control of this point. Necrise coming up with another one, using the smaller fist. The big one just feels unnecessary, and it seems like we're going to be heading back to point C.
I mean, great job once again. NRG does get taken out late here. Might cause like a slight little reset, but with Hopeful playing the Kiriko, you honestly don't need the Juno healing as much as you do with other combinations of heroes. Coming into this next fight, though, we're gonna have a ton of ults available for Short Bus and Snowfall, both teams with 4 ults. Watch out for Turtle Boy. They did really well with this Death Blossom last time. Are they gonna be able to catch Short Bus unaware this time?
These tanks have a tall task. A punch and a spear can stop these Death Blossoms in their tracks before everything is reaped before them. Now you're seeing the slam come in. The Doomfist Necrise looking for something, as again, Snowfall values the point. They're establishing on it. Akaza coming into the backline. I don't think they realize he's here, and he's doing it up on top of the brig. Only manages to get the 1, make that 2, and a 3rd! Just as I was saying, it did nothing. The Hellfire shotguns were more than enough. And now Turtle Boy so incredibly low, nothing left to give, and that should be Short Bus getting another point.
I mean, it seems like Short Bus has figured out what they want to do and how they need to play against Snowfall's comp currently, so Snowfall's going to have to figure something out here. Here comes the contest, though.
They are contesting. They don't want to give it up. They want to fight still. The Meteor Strike going to try to slam onto the backline, though. The Kiriko can live for just so long. Unfortunately, it didn't end up getting into kills. Now Turtle Boy has killed Akaza, but there's still more work to be done. This Ashe is going to finally fall, and I don't think there's another touch. This will be Short Bus taking the lead.
You do manage to get a couple more ultimates out of Short Bus, but overall, this is still a relatively even ult fight coming into this next point, because the Orbital Ray is just such a strong ult, especially in combination with Bob. And for the other side, you're looking at a Terra Surge, Blossom, and a Bob as well. I have a hard time believing Short Bus doesn't pull this next one out too.
I mean, they have the momentum behind them now. They've completely flipped the script here. Doomfist slamming in, using that power block, trying to earn an empowered punch, but it'll actually be Zen going to work first here, getting smashed out of the fight. Akaza now onto their Comfort Tracer is going to be evening this up into a 4v4. Make that a 3v4 as Necrise finds Raven. Just these tanks being the server admins right now, but it seems like Bob investment works out for Raven here. This will be the point being capped, and we're going back to the middle.
Oh man, this is a close map right now. 3-3. And Necrise does manage to get out. You can see why they're such a good Doomfist. They're almost impossible to kill on such a squishy character. You really love to see it. And again, don't look now. Turtle Boy has the Blossom available again. They've been pretty good with it so far.
They've had it for a minute. They've been scared of the cancellation, though. And now being stuck with a Pulse Bomb means nothing's coming through. Bob being thrown out from Smash as well is giving all this momentum, all this space to the side of Short Bus. Snowfall trying to live, but Zen will be the next to follow here with only 3 members alive. They may just have to give this one up. Raven falling soon after. And we're heading back on to this point for what could be the final point.
This could very well be the final point, as you mentioned. If you're Snowfall, everybody on your team needs to pop your ultimate. No matter what happens here, you need to at least try and use the ultimate. You cannot die with ult here. Not a single character right now. This needs to just be a full dump fight. You need to do it because it's your last chance. And there you go, Necrise taking out Raven already.
but Turtle Boy answering back in the backline with the help of a speed ring is able to find not one but two with the Death Blossom here. So now slight advantage into Snowfall's favor here. This Meteor Strike going to land, not come up with anything just yet. Paradox so incredibly low, but manages to live for the time being, but Akaza has removed both supports as now Snowfall, they don't actually have anybody on the point. They're all pushing forward, using that Terror Surge with help from Turtle Boy. That Pulse Bomb from Akaza might be something that they ask for back. Seems like the point B cap will come through. We're all tied up. We've got one more point to decide the map.
One more point. The only thing that's available are these orbital rays. Raven getting close to this pulse bomb as well. It's going to come down to, can Raven make a play with this pulse bomb? Because you're going to have the even orbital rays from either side.
We've got to wonder if they can come up with it here. They do have to earn it first. They can't just go in yet as the point unlocks here. It will be Short Bus making the first move, but a hack comboed up with some Tracer damage. It does not actually result in a kill, and it will be Paradox first one missing here. Now with both orbital rays, Eevee now missing from the fight. No healing on the side of Snowfall. They've already given up so much point progress. Turtle Boy, you are able to remove Smash, but it is now just a stall effort here as Snowfall, their chances of winning the midseason are fading before their very eyes. The Sombra's missing in action. There's no Tracer Blinks left. The Judo tries to touch, ultimately for naught. Short Bus will not be denied their birthright, and they're heading to the finals.
And I mean, there it is again. Akaza coming in with the clutch play to finish the map off. Getting the two supports almost instantly, while the Tracer for the other side, Raven, was not able to get those same kills, and that was really the difference there at the end of the map. Just great team play from the side of Short Bus. They managed to make that Doomfist work for basically that entire map, and that's not, that's not like the meta pick by any stretch of the imagination at the moment.
No, it was not the meta pick, but when you define the meta, when you are a champion as strong as Short Bus, you can see why they can play as they please here. Big props to them. Snowfall, your first loss of the season, but take this one to the drawing boards, figure out what you have to and work on it for next time, because you still got the back half of the season to play. But today just seems to be Short Bus's day.
Yeah, today, Short Bus's day, but Snowfall, you got something to look back on at least. You can go run back some of these maps and see what you can do differently to try and make up that ground between you and Short Bus, and I imagine we'll see these two teams play again, potentially in the playoffs once we get to that point.
Yes, we will, but for the time being, we're going to throw it to a quick break while we sort out a member of Short Bus to interview and grill for details about how ready they are for this grand final. So make sure to stick around. We will be right back.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Straight new wave. Name straight new wave.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with one privileged guest. We have Necrise joining us from the side of Short Bus. First things first, we're, just getting into the interview already. Of course, congrats on that win. How does it feel knowing that, Short Bus, they're continuing this dominant run where they're just champions and they just keep rolling?
First of all, thank you. Honestly, not that we were like having doubts, but we've always had this like little bit of a rough patch going after the CGL season it ends, because a lot of us go to school and stuff. And recently, one of our main players, Ricky, he moved to PC, so he's a pretty big loss for our roster. So going into this season, we were a little, I wouldn't say like not confident, but definitely a little more aware that it was going to be a little harder. But it's good to see that, considering I think the team we just played was one of the better teams in a division, and that we 3-0'd. I think it's good to see that we're still going strong, despite not having our full lineup.
All right, yeah, and I mean, just to add on to what you were just saying about playing one of the better teams, is there any team in particular between the two that are playing it out on the other side of the bracket? Is there anyone between the two that you would rather play, that you're like more excited to go against?
In my honest opinion, I don't want to like come off as like kind of too confident, but I felt that this team, since Red Team dropped out, was the only team that we really had to look out for. So in our eyes, this was the finals, but I'm going to say no, but hopefully they give us a good challenge. That's what I'll be looking for, and I'm sure the rest of our team will be as well.
All right. And then just another question I have, what's the thing that prompted you to make the Doomfist swap on Hanaoka? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Honestly, because we were up 2-0, we were just gonna experiment, and like, I don't play Ryan, and I was like, all right, well, why not try it? It wasn't working, so we swapped to the Orisa because Orisa's just better. Also, not a character that I've been playing much. And since we lost 2 points in a row, and then we were actually kind of losing the point in our spawn, I swapped to Doom just to get there quicker, and Doom is probably my best tank, or the one I'm most comfortable on. So it worked out, and I was close to ult after the first fight when we won in our spawn, so I decided to stay. And it also meant that Beastman or Akaza could swap back to his comfort pick, which is the Tracer, and that's what we're usually known for, is the Tracer Doom comp. It just ended up working.
I mean, hey, listen, if it works, it works. That's all that matters here. I mean, so like you said, you felt like this is the finals, assuming you guys win mid-season outright. Like, do you think that there's going to be a chance of a series dropped, or do you think the golden season is alive?
I think Golden Series is alive, and I think we're gonna see it.
Hey, listen, I respect that confidence. Before we send you out, if there's anything you want to say, any declarations, anybody you want to shout out, of course, feel free. You have the floor open.
Well, of course, shout out to everyone playing today and our manager, Kylie. She does so much for us. But especially shout out to Hopeful and NRG, who are DPS players, but because we were down a lot of our roster today due to the hurricane, they came in, flexed for us, and did an amazing job. So especially shout out to NRG and Hopeful for playing support for us.
Alrighty, well, we'll let you go ahead, celebrate with your team. Cannot wait to see y'all in that grand finals. And again, just thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for giving me the time to come on. You guys have a wonderful night.
You too.
Absolutely, just phenomenal here. And I mean, Shadow, it's so weird, because when you have a team like Short Bus, they have this long dominant streak, you expect like the ego, the confidence, like almost cockiness dripping off of them. But as you heard from Necrise there, just very humble, very just, yep, we're just doing what we're doing.
And I mean, that's usually a lot of times when you talk to anybody that's really, really, really good at something, that's how they tend to be. They're just like, no, we're just here to get to work. This is what we do, and we're just here to do. This is normal for us, right? It's not like, it's not crazy for us to be playing this well. I always think about like any pro athlete that's like super good at something. That's the same way that they tend to talk as well. So it's always nice to see that.
It is nice to see here, but unfortunately that is the end of our match here as we get a look at the schedule, just so you know all the CGL action that's been happening this evening. We've had over on the A stream, Anendra ended up taking a 3-1 victory over a Squirt Squad. And of course, Short Bus was able to take a dominant victory here. Currently going on CGL 3, you have Scad B Sports Black up 1-0 against the Banished. So we're going to be sending you over there in a raid, but also on the main channel at 10:15 at night Eastern Standard Time. It'll be late, I promise. It's worth it. It's good Overwatch. We have Arise and Bobcats going up against each other. So tons more action for y'all to tune into. And Shadow, unless you got something to say, I think we're pretty much done.
I mean, the only thing I would add is just keep your eyes peeled tomorrow as well. We're going to have more matches streamed tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, to finish out this mid-season tournament. So just, keep your eyes peeled, pay attention to those notifications. We have the pings in the server as well as the actual Twitch notifications themselves as well, if you have those on. So, yeah. And shout out to all the production people today and our observers. Did a great job as per usual, and it was great casting with you again, Lass, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes that makes it run, but we're going to get out of here. We hope you all have a wonderful night and continue watching all the CGL action as it unfolds. We'll see you next time.